Congratulations. My name is Adrian Zhou, and welcome to this episode and segment where we check out a day in the life of a real estate agent. I'm here with Anthony Granados of Titanium Real Estate Network. Anthony, thank you for joining us. And this show is brought to you guys by Beyond the Influence Team's journey back to Myanmar, where Titanium Real Estate has donated $500 to feeding orphans. So we're excited to hear each other's stories. So Anthony, tell me, what is a day in the life of a real estate agent mean to you? You've worked with a different brokerage. You've got dozens and dozens and dozens of closings now with Titanium Real Estate, but that was different from where you started off.
Right.
In the last 4 years, what changed?
Well, first off, glad to be here. Good morning, everybody. Basically, a day in the life today is a lot different than 4 years ago. Today is a little bit less strenuous. I can actually work my calendar around what I want it to be, around dropping off my kids, picking up my kids, spending quality time with my family later on in the evening, going to work out. Just lost 30 pounds, so I'm so stoked about that. But that's the way we do it on a daily basis. Now, I mean, I work, Monday through Sunday whenever I want to, but I don't consider it work because I love what I do. And from the past till now, it's a lot has changed. And what I like to talk about a little bit is what I first started on and how I felt at that other brokerage.
Okay.
Now, there was a lot of people there. There was there was recruiting going on. There was I'd say 150 plus agents there, and it wasn't smoke and mirrors necessarily, but it was more like a pep talk. And initially being my first office and getting into the real estate game, I wanted to know more about the contracts, like about the real estate transactions, not necessarily a pep talk. So myself, along with some others, I mean, there's some great people there, don't get me wrong, that try to help me. And but before I knew it, I was sitting at a cubicle looking at the other side of the other person and saying, hey, what do we do now? And so I was like, okay, let's cold call. So we cold called. Let's door knock. So we door knocked. And we kept on doing that to get leads. And we kept on doing it and kept on doing it. And then throughout that whole entire time, my first year was don't reinvent the wheel. And I'm like, why? I mean, why not? Why not think outside the box? Why do we have to continue door knocking and cold calling and doing those things? And after a while, I got a little fed up and I wanted, some change, because throughout that entire span, I really didn't even know the contracts. So how am I going to better myself as a realtor and help people, help change lives? It wasn't going to happen that way. So thought outside the box. One day, I walked into the real estate office here at Titanium, and I met with Rudy, and and now I'm here.
Excellent. Now, what Rudy really does, as you mentioned before off screen, was that he brought back what it means to be a real estate agent for the folks out there who are new agents, and some veterans as well, and also people who are not agents. Maybe they're homeowners, they're home buyers, or they have friends. Tell us, this may be a simple question, but let's go back to the basics. What is it that a real estate agent does?
We negotiate for our clients 100%. We owe a fiduciary duty to everything that they do throughout the transaction, right? From actually before, during, and after the close of escrow. We're not just handing them keys and taking off. No, we not only build a relationship, we kind of become part of the family. A lot of my clients that I've worked with, I continue to talk with them, and I go to birthday parties now, and we send Christmas cards to each other, and it's a long-term relationship. We build a relationship instead of just a client relationship, if you can understand that. And that's what I do. And not only just negotiating, it's finding out what their wants, their needs, why they're buying, why they're selling. What can I make it to where it's going to be a smooth and hassle-free transaction for my clients, and I make sure that gets done every single day.
So with the traditional model, one of the biggest conundrums or the complication challenges is that the traditional model, as you said, you're cold calling, you're doing all this prospecting, and you're doing very little client-to-client interaction, right? You weren't getting much time to service the clients.
Correct. Yeah.
So as far as everyone else, is that just because that's how you guys were trained, or when you got the license? Is that in a new brokerage, is that how it just works for everyone else at this time?
In all honesty, I got to just speak for myself on that one. When I first got in there, everybody told me, well, you just took your real estate exam, forget everything that you learned. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well,
sounds like college.
Yeah, forget everything that you learned. You jump in here and start learning, find a mentor, and they're going to help you. And my first year wasn't exactly the way it was told to me. So I had, I had to go through the bumps of the road. There's a lot of obstacles and a lot of hard learning lessons. And that's the one thing that I experienced then, and I took that experience to here, and I understood why this is such a successful real estate company. Because there is no more bumps in the road. If you're brand new, if you're 15 years into this, if you're 20 years into this, because the training is impeccable. Rudy is extremely personable. He sheds his blood, sweat, and tears into this office, and we built this office to have more, instead of camaraderie, it's more family values. It's more family, and that's when I first stepped into this office, the vibe, the energy. I was like, man, I'm perfect for this, because I love bringing good vibes and energy. And the first week, you could do the trial and error test or whatever, which I did, and I'm like, hey, this is the place for me, because it wasn't smoke and mirrors, it wasn't pep talks, it was real deal contract negotiating, understanding all the car forms, understanding, again, before, during, and after the closed transactions, the procedures to make sure we get the deal done in our client's best interest. And so when I started that, my first 10 months, actually my first year, so from 4 to 5 transactions I closed, because I was like grinding, and there's nothing wrong with grinding. I think we all do that. I think I closed 4 or 5 transactions where I was at before. Once I learned the system, once I was able, there's no cold calling, there's no door knocking. We pretty much draft out our own schedule per week, and that's the way it goes. And
that's Titanium Real Estate Network system compared to other brokerage. Now, let's go and get into something really juicy that you mentioned. You said smoke and mirrors. You said other brokerages just had the pep talk, but they didn't leave you anything tangible or sustainable or give you that support system. What kind of smoke and mirrors I guess, taking a step back, for those people who don't know the relationship, can you explain a little bit about the relationship of between a broker and an agent?
Honestly, a broker, from what I experienced from my last office that I was at, there was 150 plus people there. They signed them up. That's where you hang your license at, and you're your own person. Now you can probably get a killer split, 90-10, 80-20, 70-30, and have a cap, but what does that mean really? If you're new to the industry, you're kind of twiddling your thumbs trying to figure out, where do I belong? And that was, I think, not just my problem. That's, I think, a lot of people's problem.
Okay.
Once you step into the industry, because we don't know much.
So what you're saying is the brokerage, the incentive for the brokerage, for majority of brokerage, is just having as many agents in the house collecting rent or collecting a small commission off of their hard work without giving much back.
Right. In all honesty, I'm not exactly sure what every single brokerage does, but what my experience was it was just more of a pep talk. It was like if I was in Little League, hey, go get them. Okay. How are we gonna go get them? We're gonna practice Monday and Wednesday and Friday, or we're gonna practice every single day. That's the difference here. We practice every single day from 8 to 9:30. We have our team meetings from Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 o'clock. We discuss whatever situations we're in, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, buyers or sellers. We're able to explain what type of contracts we use, what type of, not necessarily weapons, but in the real estate industry, all these car forms, there's every single one that means something that can help us leverage our clients to get their offer accepted or to help them net the most amount of money. And that's what we do. That's the difference. So comparing, I guess, a pep talk to real deal contract negotiations, finding out exactly what every single car forms. When I stepped in here, Rudy said, hey, memorize the contracts. Come back. I was like, all right, let's do it.
how about the leads? I mean, prior to with other brokerages in today's society, I mean, you have to do a lot of traditional agents have to do their own marketing, their own prospecting, their own cold calling, their own lead generation, then follow up. After a transaction successfully done. Here, you're not spending much time having to do your own marketing, right?
No, we don't have to do anything. We just got to be ready we get booked appointments. We find out what their wants and needs are, why they're buying, why they're selling, and we make it happen for our clients. That's it.
Wow, that's amazing. We love to hear your comments and questions. If you guys have anything at all, please feel free to comment. Titanium Real Estate Network is going to follow up, and I can follow up with any questions as well. One of the biggest things that I've learned here is how traditional real estate markets don't give you leads, whereas here they hand you the leads so that you don't have to spend so much time prospecting and creating your own marketing and doing all that. But what's the trade-off? What's the catch? Is there a catch with Titanium Real Estate Network for you?
There is no catch. You just got to put the work in. It's like anything else. We're a part of the team. It's like a baseball team. You can't have just a pitcher and no catcher. Like we all mean something on the field. It's not just a buyer's agent or a seller's agent. We're all one team. From the inside sales to the outside sales to our marketing team, our media and video. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all are trying to capture every angle, and being as transparent as possible to the industry. That's all we're trying to do. And not only that, we're trying to step it up for the industry. We're trying to make sure that, hey, dealing with big shots like Google coming soon, Blackstone, open listings, all those things. We're not only training on contracts, but we're also training to negotiate, set, negotiate, and collect fees. And that's all we're trying to do. And all Rudy does is every single day is polish up our skills, along with our wonderful trainers, Ronnie, Jose, everybody else that adds value to this team. But I think every single one of us, the great thing is not only that we all have something to give, but we're all different. We're all able to bring our personal value to the table, and that's the difference with Titanium. We bring our differences, and we come together and we said, hey, how can we make this happen to where we're going to be able to service everybody? Not just LA County, not just all Southern California. Now, it's not about numbers. I mean, if you get technical in the numbers, then you're going to be discouraged. But if you say, hey, this is what I can do my first year, this is what I can do my second year. My first year, I closed 21 deals. That's pretty. I mean, I tell people, and again, that was my first year. And I really don't know if that's good or bad, honestly. But then I tell people on the outside, yeah, I closed 21 deals. Yeah, okay.
Well, for those people who don't understand, what is the national average of closers for an average real estate agent?
I think it was like 10 or 12, or I don't know, something like that. 6?
Max.
Wow.
It's actually very, very, very low. Looks like our 15 minutes is almost up. I have so much more questions for Anthony, but we're going to get to it in another segment. For those of you who have joined us, thank you guys so much for joining our episode and segment. This is brought to you by support of Beyond the Influence Team, powered by Zoll Studios Charity Fund. So Titanium Real Estate Network has donated $500 towards feeding the orphans. And today we talked about a day in the life of a real estate agent, especially Anthony here, And up next, we're going to check out what the new social media competition has done to the industry, whether it's Realtor.com, Zillow, where they've automatically can have the cutting edge as you stay tuned at Titanium Real Estate Network's page or Zoll Studios page or Adrian Zoll's page to find out more. We're going to continue all throughout the day. We got so much more stuff coming up. Thank you guys so much, and make sure you guys donate and join us as well. Comment, questions. Anthony is very available, and he's absolutely excited to hear your stories and change your ideas, and definitely want to recruit you guys to this team as well, right?
Are you thinking of selling your home? This is John Cobelt with important facts for home sellers. Why waste time with an ordinary agent? Call my friend and agent, Rudy Kasuma. Rudy may already have a buyer for your home. Rudy has thousands of qualified buyers in his exclusive Buyers in Waiting program. The fact is, Rudy Kasuma has more buyers, which means more money and a faster sale for you. Call the only one I would trust to sell my home. Call Rudy now at 855-RUDY-SELLS, 855 Rudy Sells or RudyHasTheBuyers.com. RudyHasTheBuyers.com.